start actually, before you talk about the Olympics, just the Olympic trials. And I know, we've talked about this, but your coach, Drew, who you introduced earlier, the message that he shared with you before you went out on the track to do something heroic. Talk about that, and then lead right into just the Olympic experience and how you didn't allow the moment to get the best of you.
So, yeah, I mean, I guess the background going into the race was that in April, so the Olympic trials were in June, and that April before, I'd run 15:24 for the 5K, and the Olympic A standard, which is what you need to have to qualify for the team, is 15:20. So I was 5 seconds away from that. And I knew that, where I'd been competing and people I'd been competing around kind of gave me a shot that the top 5 was possible, maybe even with a great race, top 3. So I went into the Olympic trials kind of with a very kind of relaxed perspective, because when I graduated college in 2009, my entire dream was just to go to the Olympic trials, because I thought what a great accomplishment, just to go from being where I'd come out of UC Davis and then to make it to the Olympic trials seemed like a really good goal, and would have been a dream come true. And so the morning of my race in 2012 at the Olympic trials, I just felt so happy and relaxed to be there, because I knew that goal had already been accomplished, and that I was going to toe the line in the race in the best shape of my life, and that I'd accomplished a dream of getting to the Olympic trials. And not only that, but I had this kind of crazy outside shot at making the Olympic team, and that just made me really excited that it wasn't just about like being in the race anymore, but that it was about actually trying to put myself on the team and shock the world. So right before I went into the call room of the race, Drew handed me a note, and at the end of the note it said, "Do something heroic." And so during the race, so as I said earlier, I still needed the Olympic A standard, which was 15:20. Only a few people in the race had that A standard, so I knew it would be a tactical race, because it wasn't in their best interest to make it fast for anybody like me. So I felt like I had to take it upon myself to take the race out and try to keep the pace fast enough that we could maybe still run the standard. So I went to the front immediately, which, as you all know, is not ideal. Then everybody sits on you and you get out-kicked. So I was a little worried about that, and so I was doing this balancing act of trying to stay really relaxed, like I was sitting in the pack, but also keeping the pace fast enough that the A standard was still in sight. And we got to 3K, and the pace was definitely too slow, and I saw the clock and I thought, well, there's no way it can happen now. And so I started to get a little bit negative, and the dream started to slip away from me. And then that's when the race really broke open. Another woman made a big move, and we all started running a lot faster. And I think at one point I slipped even into 8th place. And then that was about 600 meters to go. And I remember hearing Drew yelling for me, and I can't remember what he said, but I just remember it triggered in my mind, the registration of, there's Drew, do something heroic. And I just thought, I can't give up, I can't settle here, because we've just worked too hard together with the support of my family and everyone that kind of held me along the way and believed in me. And I just couldn't let that moment pass and settle for that. So I kind of regrouped, started picking off runners again, got back into 5th place, and then I saw that the 3rd place woman was starting to fade, and I thought, I think I can catch her. And so with 150 meters to go, I went by the 4th place girl, got onto the home stretch, and then I could just hear the crowd just roaring, and I knew it was happening. I could just feel this energy, and I just started running as hard as I could, and I got to the line, and I leaned just like you do in your imagination. I don't know why, other than I've just dreamed about it before. And so I just went into this huge lunge, and then I just sat there and stared at the clock, because I had this horrible feeling that I was going to be 3rd place and the time was going to be 15:21. And then it seemed like an eternity, and finally the time popped up on the scoreboard, and it was 15:19.79, just under the standard. And then that's when you see those pictures of my shocked face, because I had actually done it.
Let's give her a round of applause.